Welcome to the Big Life Podcast, where dreams aren't just imagined, they're built brick by brick, belief by belief. Hosted by Neal Oates Jr. and Robin Lewis, this show is your invitation to discover your amazing capabilities, invest in your growth, and unleash your potential in ways you've only dreamed of. Join Neal and Robin as they dive deep into stories, insights, and tools designed to inspire you to show up big, live intentionally, and give yourself away for the betterment of those around you. Get ready to rise to what you're truly worthy of. The Big Life starts now.
Robin Lewis, Neal Oates Jr. here on the Big Life Podcast. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Robin, we're going back to our roots. We're going back to the beginning. How are you, sir?
Hey, I'm doing good, Neal. Man, as I think about going back to the beginning, going back to our roots, I'm thinking about how much I appreciate you, sir. You're one of those, we've talked about it where, we talk about relationships and we talk about networking and adding value and, you're an example of what meeting somebody else in your life can actually change your life. And, look at what we've been doing, sir, just in the last several months, as we're going to talk a little bit about this morning, I believe. And you think about, where that all started. I'm grateful. So that's the words that come to my mind, sir. I'm grateful to you. I'm grateful to what we get to do together. I'm grateful that we can grow together and we can see each other actually moving ahead and living into our purpose. And you're a great example to me of that. And I'm proud to be here with you, sir.
So, ladies and gentlemen, Robin talks about how he's excited as we talk about going back to our roots. Here's what we mean. This is the way the Big Life Podcast started. First, Robin came with this brilliant idea of, hey, Neal, we should do a podcast together. And I'm like, yeah, we should. And I think it took 4 to 5 months, and it always stayed in the back of our minds until the timing was right. And so when we say we get back to our roots and where we started, it was just two guys having conversations about the big life. And even big life has taken on a new meaning. It has become more concise and more clear. And so that's exciting for us. But the exciting thing is, in a couple of weeks, Robin, we are going to be releasing our 50th episode of the Big Life.
Hey, I like it.
Hey, and so this is coming back to right now. We are 49 weeks in of consistent recording, delivery, production, adding value to each other, of course, but to an audience. Dude, and you know this, when we started, I said, Robin, I'll give you 15 episodes. I'll give you 20 episodes. And then we started looking at some stats and we were like, oh, we could do 52. And then I go out on the limb, Robin, I'll give you 500. Let's go. So that's the way the Big Life is. So just just share with me, and we're just going to let the audience listen in on this conversation of two brothers today. What does it feel like being close to this thing where 49 weeks ago, it was not like I did not think it was going to happen.
Yeah. Hey, listen, I even want to go back a little bit further because Neal needs to get credit for this. And some of you need to hear this. This could be a little nugget for you today. Neal and I, we just decided, community, show me your friends. I'll show you who you are, right? Community is a big part of living life, period. Don't care who you are, where you are, what you're doing, who you do it with makes such a big difference. And Neal and I decided that we were going to get together at least once a month. And we put it on our calendars that we were going to get together just to kind of touch bases with each other. We didn't have an agenda. We were just going to get together. It wasn't long after doing that, Neal. Maybe it was the second or third one.
Yeah.
I don't remember exactly, so I don't want to exaggerate here. But early on, Neal started to make the recommendation, hey, Robin, you should hit record before we because sometimes we get into some discussion here in our meetings that I think it'll be worthy of going back to, reviewing. Yeah. That's kind of where it all, before we even started talking about podcasts, Neal, you were very big on, hey, Rob, I have learned that it's best to just record this kind of stuff that we're doing today. Just record it. You never know how you can use it. Maybe just referring back to it, learning, reviewing. Maybe there's parts on this that we can actually share with somebody else, share with others. And it was just about recording, so that we could capture what we're doing. And I think that's where it all started, sir,
Yeah, it
before we
was.
even came to mind. So I just wanted to acknowledge you, sir, and thank you for that, because that stayed with me. And a lot of times now I'm more recording. I am recording calls. Like I might have calls with clients or prospects. And I find that if I can record the call, sometimes it's beneficial to send a recording to the person that I had that conversation with. And that came from your recommendation.
Now, hold on right there, Robin. I do want to say, here's where I got it from. And I know that he was joking when he said it, but John Maxwell said that he received a shirt as a gift from from someone in the Maxwell leadership family. And the shirt says, "If I'm talking, you should be writing," right? And so then he came later, he said, "Well, in today's day and age, I believe that if you're talking, you should be recording," right? And you know that John Maxwell is big on capturing ideas, whether that's through journaling or through whatever means, so that we don't miss opportunities, so we don't miss these little lights that God gives us. And so that's why I was like, Robin, man, do you hear the stuff we talk about? And a big part of it was so that I could go back and listen to it and then fill up all of my little money books here with some ideas. But then, of course, then the idea comes from, well, is this valuable enough? And you and I having the same heart, how can we add value to others, right? Yes, we're having personal, intimate conversations, but could there be one nugget that we could take 30 seconds out of this and just put it out there for someone? And now we look back years into our relationship, but now almost a year into this journey. And I'm like, man, we've done some good stuff. And here's what I love the most, Robin. We've gotten amazing feedback from people we didn't even know listened to us. And that's what I love.
Yeah, it's so true, man. And yeah, it's also talks about collaboration. There's so much things that are coming to my mind right now, Neal. I want to go somewhere else before even answering your question. Like I just saw you holding up your money books. How many of those books you got now, brother?
So these are the ones that I'm reviewing right now. And part of Mr. Robin Lewis is to reflect, to rest and reflect, right? And so these are the 8 that I have out right now to reflect on weekly and quarterly as we get ready to close out this quarter. But I would say about 35 to 40 money books in, because I don't always have access to my big journal, right? My money books go with me everywhere I go because I never want to miss an idea, but I also don't want to pull out my phone and be in my phone and look as if I'm not paying someone attention. But if I'm talking to you and if I pull this out with a pen and start writing, I'm like, give me one moment. Let me write that down. And I'm like, oh, what did I say? What is in there? So we're about 40 money books in now, and it has been one of those practices for me that has changed everything. And it's a small thing that, because of our conversations, you are responsible for me having to buy a lot of money books, Robin Lewis. So thank you, sir.
That's awesome.
Moleskin is grateful for Robin Lewis. They're like, man, as long as Neal and Robin keep talking, we're going to stay in business.
That's awesome, man. So that's a way of capturing your thoughts and ideas. And I know you have goals written in those books as well. And so it ties in with everything. And I'm just,
Yep,
yeah, there
that's
you
my
go.
goals one right
Cool.
there, sir.
Yeah. And so, sir, as I think about the year, I am grateful for collaboration. I'm grateful. The chances are, Neal, if I was doing this on my own, we wouldn't be celebrating 52 weeks. So that's one of the things I want to say to you. I've made different attempts before where I did it using a different medium, if you will, but I attempted to have weekly calls. I remember, I was doing that on the conference type calls for a while. I've done different things like that, and it did not last 52 weeks. And so what I think of is that, and I think this is a nugget for our listeners as well, is that sometimes, we shouldn't try to do it on our own.
Amen to that.
There's no doubt in my mind that We are doing what we're doing because we're doing it together. I know from my vantage point, I can say that without hesitation. Quite frankly, to our listeners, Neal is the one that takes care of a lot of the behind the scenes stuff. I don't know how he does it, because Neal has three podcasts going now, Neal?
Yeah. So we've got 3.
Yeah. And so he's really brilliant at that. And that alone, for example, is a blessing to Robin. Figuring all that out, I'm a lot slower. It takes me a lot longer to get there with some of those types of things. What a blessing it's been, Neal. I want to say that to you, sir. Like some of those things, if I'm not careful, I can take it for granted. And so I just want to pause while we talk about a year now and to thank you for all that you do to actually make that happen. And you do a lot of that behind the scenes. Robin has no clue to some of that. That's the reality. And so I'm grateful. I'm also grateful that, as we have come together, that people, like we're living our purpose, right? Neal, I want you to state your purpose. My purpose is to inspire and guide others to live into their potential, right? To discover, develop, and live into their potential. And I believe that one of the ways for me to do that is through communicating these thoughts that can help people to value and empower others. And I think the podcast has allowed us to do that, to live out my purpose. And, I'm saying too much here. I'm going to stop right now, Neal, and give you a chance. But to see the response from people has been a blessing to me also. It's sort of affirming and confirming that we can make a difference, and we are making a difference. And what a beautiful tool that we have to be able to do that.
But because, Robin, here's what happens, right? So my purpose is to positively impact the lives of everyone I encounter. To positively impact the lives of everyone I encounter. And so if I'm not mistaken, if I have a small mind, I might think that means that I have to meet them personally, that we have to cross paths. But just from the feedback and the comments that we get from the podcast, from people all across the world, I'm sitting here and I'm like, man, if it weren't for Robin and I doing this, we would not be living out our purpose, our missions to the extent, to this God-sized vision that we have. And so that's exciting. But for me, really what I am learning about this, and I know we talk about this often, is that every great idea isn't a now idea. And so you and I, even before we record some of our episodes, we'll sit there and we have topics and ideas that we shoot back and forth. And it happened very recently. I was like, Robin, I think this is a good idea, but I don't like the flow. I don't think that this is it. And so, ladies and gentlemen, what I really want to encourage you on is, you heard Robin say it earlier in this episode, in this recording, is that it's all about community. But it's not just any community. Robin and I have a relationship. I know you all probably cannot believe this, but we do not agree on everything. And what that requires is intimacy, maturity between two friends, two leaders, two brothers who are coming and saying, yes, I see your point of view. I understand where you're coming from. I disagree with it. Here are my viewpoints. And then how are we going to try to meet somewhere in the middle? Or we might just have to agree to disagree. And for the greater good, we have to say, all right, this time I'm pulling back. Let's move forward with your idea and let's see what happens. And so could this be easier if it was just one of us? Yes, because we don't have to try to schedule. We don't have to get notes back and forth. Would it be as good and as impactful as it is with two of us? Absolutely not. Because I will tell everyone, and I've told Robin this before, a lot of times the only reason I show up is because I promised Robin I would show up. It's because he is on my schedule. Because I'm a great salesperson. I will sell myself on, well, it doesn't matter. I can wait. And then that delay becomes rejection, it doesn't happen. Like, I just take it off. And that's where you were talking about the conference calls and other attempts. So, Robin, here's what I want to pose to you, because we're not going to do a long episode. This is just Robin and I having conversations. And thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for hanging out here with us. And so, even before I pose this question to Robin, I just want to say thank you, not only to Robin, but also to you. We have a growing audience base, a listenership that is growing, and it is exciting, regardless of the platform. we found out that we're having lots of listeners and viewers on YouTube. And so once we figured that out, we had to go and make adjustments to make sure that they got the same full experience as those on other platforms. So that was exciting. But Robin, for you, my question is, why are you still here? Right. And it's not just because we said we were going to do 52 weeks, because in 3 weeks, that's done. So why are you still here? What is it? Because it's not because it's easy. It's not because we don't have things to do. So I'm just curious, what makes Robin Lewis continue to come back and say, the big life is important enough for me to schedule, plan, record, publish, share? What is Robin Lewis still here hanging out with Neal Oates?
Man, that's a good question. And I have to pause and think about that for a moment. Why is Robin still here? You know, the things that come to my mind, Neil, one is that I continue to learn and grow and change. And this is a great opportunity for me to do that.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that you and I are committed to doing is to not come on here and teach or speak about something that we're not fleshing out ourselves, that we're not working on. We don't want to just come and be teaching something that we heard,
Right.
or, you know, and so it challenges me to continue to learn and grow. Even just, I think about communicating, Neil. You and I are big on communicating, right? And we communicate for a living, if you really think about it. But for our listeners to make it relevant, you know, communication, I've heard Warren Buffett says that communication is the number one skill that he would want to develop if he had it to do over again. The
Yep.
number one. And doing this has helped me to improve my communication. It's helped me to get better, right? And I think behind all of that is wanting to make a difference. Like you, I want to come on here and share something that's going to add value to people and empower people. There are two things that I want to do. Is I want to value people, first of all. I believe that every person, because they're a person, should be valued. And that's regardless of belief, color of skin, occupation, where they live, what they do. You just erase whatever adjective, description you want to put on a person. Just because they're a person, I believe that they should be valued. I'm especially the guy, like I believe you are too, Neil, that I especially want to add value and value that person that a lot of people might overlook,
Yeah.
right? And so that's the one thing, is to value, but then to empower others to live the big life, to live a little bit better, to be able to create better results in their lives. And I am for getting that type of information and applying it into my life. And I want to be that for others. I want to see others live, be transformed, live a better life as a result of maybe things that we share or don't share, or maybe encouragement they receive, or maybe they can just see us as examples and say, if Robin and Neal can do it, then certainly so can I. Right? I just want to be that person that values and adds value to others. And this is just a great medium for doing that. And it's allowed me to get better at it. It's caused me to grow as a result at the same time.
So absolutely. And so Robin, here's something that I will share with the audience. And Robin and I, we had to battle. We had to overcome this thing of getting focused on the wrong thing, being focused on the wrong thing. When we started, we were focused on the metrics, right? So yes, as we do this, we want to make sure that it's getting out to an audience, that it is valuable, that they're listening, the viewership is there, the audience base is growing, the number of hours listen or watch is increasing. But there was a little point there where Robin and I were like, hey, okay, are we getting enough? What are the views? What are the hits? And because when we started, like, this was our first time, right? We didn't know what to expect. I am willing to say on behalf of Robin that what we're experiencing now is far greater than what we expected. What I'm going to say, in a relatively short amount of time, especially when you think about the time that Robin and I are committing, the number of episodes to doing here, we're in our infancy. And so I'm just going to encourage everyone that's listening, don't discount what's possible by looking at, and yes, we need metrics, we need information, we need to do our research and our stats, but don't make decisions too early, right? Because had Robin and I made decisions too early on this thing and had not given it room to grow, then we would not be here. And so I think of it as having a baby and then deciding 6 months in, be like, oh, he's never going to walk. Let's just give up. Right. Like, no, that's not enough time to give this thing life to actually see what it could do. But Robin, I want to share something that has been my biggest surprise is the individuals that I know personally, and I think that I put out great content on a lot of different platforms. I think that I put out fantastic stuff on like videos, YouTube, IG, Facebook, and it just was not hitting with some of my audience. But the caliber of individuals and the number of individuals. My mom, for instance, yeah, she watches some of the stuff I've done. And I tell you this all the time, Robin, my mom is the biggest Robin Lewis fan because she comes and says, Neal, the way you and Robin speak, the conversations you have, it is so good. I have one of my best friends who watches everything I do, but it's the big life that, and we've been friends for 25 years. This is a thing that resonates with him and he shares with his family members, his coworkers, his friends. And in my head, I'm like, the big life, I mean, yeah, we're okay, but it's not the best work that I've put out there. But there is something, Robin, you and I, we know that where 2 or 3 gather in his name, he's going to be with us and he's going to do something. That Holy Spirit is going to do something that we can't do. And so that's the biggest surprise for me is that if I'm not careful, I can diminish the perceived value of what we're doing, only to see that those who are closest to me, this is what is the most valuable thing to them. And it's having that impact that I couldn't see through my carnal eyes. And so I want to tell everyone who's listening, don't discount. What is it? Don't discount small beginnings. And so what I'm seeing here is exciting for me as well. Anything you just want to share off the top of your head, Robin, as we just sit here and have a conversation with
Yeah.
us, but also with our audience?
Yeah. By the way, first of all, I think it was a good idea for you to say, "Hey, let's push record again on this one, our conversation we're going to have, Rob. Let's just record it." A couple of things that come to my mind. One is, this the idea of test, the success formula: test, fail,
Don't
learn,
start with me, Robin. Don't start that,
improve,
sir.
and re-enter. You test, you fail, you learn, you improve, and you re-enter. And that's kind of what we've done here, right, Neal?
Hold on. So, Robin, you just said that we're not going to get on here and talk about something that we don't embody ourselves. And Robin frustrates the stuff out of me with this success formula. He's like, hey, Neal, we test, we fail, we learn, and oh my gosh. Go ahead, Rob.
Yeah, and it's so true, and I see it with some of the best of the best. Neal, we were having a conversation actually about that very briefly this morning as we just considered something that was happening. But again, it's as I think about the Big Life podcast, that's what we've done. And folks, we haven't arrived by any means. We know that there are areas that we can continue to improve, right? And that's our commitment is to do that. But we have gotten a lot better than where we started. There's no question about that in my mind as well. And that's an encouragement. As we're having this conversation, we still want this to add value to you and empower you. And that's something that I would say to you to apply that to anything that you're thinking about doing. Test, step out. You're not going to have it together before you actually go out there and start doing it. It's impossible to become the best before you actually start it. And so you have to start it. Whatever it is you were thinking about, start it, test. And you're going to fail. You're not going to be the best the first time. That's the reality. So you're going to fail. And then you can pause and learn from it. And then you can improve and then you can re-enter. And that's Neal, I shared it with you before. I may have even shared it on this show that's one of the things that I wanted to make sure that I taught my daughter.
Yeah.
Right? I don't want her to be afraid to fail because it's the only way that we're actually going to do anything of significance with our lives. You're not going to be good the first time. And so anyway, I don't want to get too much into the teaching mode, but as we have experienced that. I want our clients, our audience to hear that.
So you talk about failure. I actually interviewed Dr. Christiana Schroeder. She is a TED Talk. She's an author, TED Talk speaker, and so she talks about small steps. And when she says fail, she says first attempt in learning. First attempt in learning. So every time I hear fail now, well, when I hear fail from someone besides you, I'm like, okay, first attempt in learning. When I hear fail from Robin Lewis, I'm like, oh, here comes the success formula. We got to go through it. And because Robin and we have failed, right? And so we've tested and we failed. And so sometimes I come and I look, I'm like, man, do I even want to test this? And then I'm like, well, if I don't, I have to report back to my success partner or accountability partner, Robin, and say, man, I had this opportunity to test something and I didn't. He was like, oh, well, you're going to have to test it anyway at some point. Let's go ahead and get that test out of the way to see what the result is. And so some of those tests, only Robin Lewis would know that I have tested and I have failed, and we have scrapped some ideas in that reflection stage. And then others, it was, well, that was the first iteration. It didn't work that well. Let's see how we can improve upon that and then bring it back in front. Now, so Robin, as we get ready to end this episode, here's something that I was thinking about as we've been doing this thing, is that even when we don't know how to do something, and this goes back to, if I'm not mistaken, Viktor Frankl says that the person with the big enough why can overcome almost any how, right? And so why we did this, why we do this is bigger than how are we going to get this done? How are we going to be consistent when we're traveling, working, being husbands, being fathers, being entrepreneurs? How are we going to choose topics? How are we going to record? And what platform are we going to get this out on? How are we going to get people to listen and engage and comment? And all of it came back to, well, why are we doing it? Right? Why are we here? And you reiterated it with the question, or the answer to my question, man, I want to add value. I want to empower. And so that's what I want to leave our audience with today, that we hear it and it has become a cliche. If your why is big enough, if your why is big enough. But personally, I'm going to tell you, if your why is big enough, you will overcome any how, or why not, or how can we, or when will we. But our why is that big. Anything else you have for the audience today, Robin?
Yeah, I would just want to say that we believe in you. I think that's a part of what I think of about when I think about this milestone that we're getting, 52 weeks. If we can do it, you can do it. Number one. Number two, nobody else can do you. You're the only you that we'll ever receive in this world. And if we don't get you, the world misses out. And so we want to encourage you. We really do believe in you. And we want to encourage you to take stock of who you are, your identity, your values, your purpose. And we want you to bring it because we really do need it, right? We need each other. And we're all brought on this earth. I believe we're on purpose with purpose. And we all need to receive that. We are better because of it. And so we want to encourage you to bring it. I've developed this thing that I say, Neal. You hear me say it a lot of times. No, even when I write, when I speak, is that there is something in you that the world is waiting for. Something that only you can bring. You don't have to have it all figured out. You don't have to have it all together. You hearing me? You just need to take the next step. Your gift is needed. Unleash it. Let's go. That's what I want to say to our listeners today.
Now, so Robin, here's where, because I thought I was just going to end it after you spoke, but I have to go here. We talk about the Big Life podcast, and it came from an idea, the framework that you would run clients through, and what we believe and how we would operate. But even when it comes to Big Life, the acronym that has developed, that has become more concise. I alluded to that a little bit earlier, but then you mentioned that as we've gone on this journey together, you have taken steps individually, like I have individually. And what we're finding is that we are better versions of ourselves holistically than we were 49 weeks ago, right? And
Right
so,
on.
and the beauty is, ladies and gentlemen, this was not a New Year's resolution. This was a commitment to each other that started as a trial, as a test, and as Robin improves. Well, I can't just let Robin improve all by himself. Neal improves. And then Robin's like, oh, I see what we're doing here. Now, I'm not going to be the slow one in this relationship. Let's go. And it is a healthy relationship, healthy competition, but there is accountability here because we know that we have big goals, we have a purpose, and we're always holding each other accountable in love and in truth and saying, Rob, you said you were going to do this. Are you getting back to here? Neal, I know you've faltered in this area. You've asked me for accountability, but so much so that only a few days ago, Robin, I came to you and I said, man, I've hit this wall. I need some answers. You didn't tell me what to do. You asked me some thought provoking questions. I implemented it within 24 hours. And then 48 hours, I was able to come back to you and give a positive report. And today I have an opportunity to yield good fruit because of relationship accountability sites, wise counsel that had we not been 49 weeks into this thing, I don't know that you and I have the relationship, the understanding of each other and each other's goals and personality for me to be in the position where I am in about an hour. And so this is where, ladies and gentlemen, I tell you, you never know what you're going to get. Like Forrest Gump's mama said, you never know what you're going to get, but we must try and fail and reflect and regenerate and then come back with it. So Robin, I want to tell you, thank you personally from friend to friend, man to man, that this has been a beautiful thing. And I can't wait to see where this journey goes, sir.
Sir, I know you want to close it, but you can't close it just yet. I gotta just highlight what you just said because it's interesting. I believe that what we've done in this little off the cuff conversation is touch on some really good nuggets, and I love the one you just talked about, and it's been so true for me. And I think a lot of times we don't intentionally have this in our lives, and that's accountability. Folks, hear what Neal just said. The truth is, and Neal always talks it, he says, Robin, I'm a good salesperson. I can sell myself really good on why I shouldn't do something, but I'm not really good at selling you on that. And so he's allowed me to keep him accountable, right? He's been very intentional about actually having somebody to hold him accountable in his life. And he's been the same for me in so many different ways. And that's definitely a benefit that's come, Neal, as a result of our relationship. And I just want to highlight it for our listeners. Neal already said it. What I'm saying to you, our listeners, is do you have an accountability partner in your life? We need it. We need it. As leaders, as business owners, as entrepreneurs, left to ourselves, we're only going to be able to do so much. But when we have somebody else to come beside us and that we are allowing them to speak into our lives, it brings the best out of us. We need it. And Neal, I'm so glad you said it. And I want to shut up real quick here because I know we didn't want this to be a long episode today. But man, we need to be that I've benefited from you being that in my life, sir. So thank you for that as well.
As have I. Ladies and gentlemen, you heard it here. Robin Lewis, Neal Oates Jr., the Big Life Podcast. We took a little trip, in the time machine, going back, looking at where we started. We are 3 weeks away from our second episode. So doing this consistently for a year. Look, Robin, I know you are excited because it's one of those things where we're going to celebrate. We're going to have a birthday party for our baby called the Big Life.
Yeah, man.
And so this is something that we are excited about. We want to thank each of you for going on this journey with us. And here's our ask is if you find value in this, share it with others. And we don't care how you do that. You can use a link. You can tell people. They can search up Robin Lewis, Neal Oates, the Big Life Podcast on any of the platforms. You can send us messages. Our email addresses are in the show notes. And so just let us know how we can assist you. We are here living out our mission, our purposes in life so that ultimately God get the glory, but so that you can be positively impacted, but you can also be equipped to go and live the big life. So as we always do, we're going to leave you today with this, that we love you, God loves you, and there's nothing you can do about it. And until the next time we see you or you see us, we're right there with you. Peace.
Peace.